Good afternoon. My name is Eric Macklin, and I'm here representing the Nancy Project. I'm the chairman of the Nancy Griffin Fund, and we're here to discuss with you the project of building a brand new Nancy for the War of 1812 for the Bi-Centennial to be held in 2012 to 2014. The Nancy, which was originally built in 1789, was 97 feet long, 110 tons, carried six 6-pound cannons on 8 gun ports, and her crew carried a long-land brown bess musket, which was later replaced towards the end of the war by the new Baker musket, which was far more accurate. The Nancy, in her days as a merchant schooner, served the forts and outposts on Lake Erie, and Lake Huron in Georgian Bay. From Lake Erie, it was Fort Erie to Fort Mullen to Fort Detroit, and on up through the Detroit River through to the Lake St. Clair, the St. Clair River up into Lake Huron, supplying Fort St. Joseph, Fort Malden, and a number of the trading posts. Her major supply base was in Wendake, which is now Collingwood, and the other supply point was Mashdash Bay, which is essentially where the Highway 400 crosses the Severn River. During the War of 1812, in the spring of both 1812 and 1813, the Nancy was involved with the opening phases of each engagement for those 2 years, with the attack on Fort Stevens on the Miami River and Fort Meigs on the Maumee River, both forts just to the east of modern-day Toledo. In the north, the Nancy in 1812 was involved with the capture of Fort Mackinac on July the 12th, 1812, and as well as resupplying Fort St. Joseph. During the war, the Nancy was heavily involved in supplying the British Ontario Provincial Marine, as was known in those days, with the help of the 41st and 49th Regiment under General Brock. What we would like to do, since the Nancy was the sole surviving war schooner after the Battle of Put-in Bay, which is just north of Fort Meigs and Fort Stevens, from the Battle of Put-in Bay in September of 1813, the Nancy came north and carried on and maintained the control of the northern lakes, all of the fur trading posts and the forts, so we were able to control all of Michigan territories, while the Americans had captured all of southern Ontario just to the east of modern-day London. At the end of the war, those two territories were swapped. The Americans took Michigan back, we took southern Ontario back, and in the summer and fall of 1814, the Nancy, in August the 14th, the Nancy, we lost her because the Americans sent the Niagara and 2 other schooners north, the Scorpion and the Tigris. Subsequent to the loss of the Nancy, her crew went over to Mashdash Bay, picked up the supplies, and went north into Detour Passage. We took back the Tigris, which became the HMS Confiance, and the Scorpion, which became HMS Surprise, and we maintained our control over Fort Mackinac, along with the assistance of the Ojibwe Indians at the time. The Nancy is very important to Canada because the 49th Regiment that was involved with the Nancy at the end of the war, the Treaty of Ghent, which was signed in January the 10th in 1815, we were able to maintain the border, the 49th parallel to Canada, and the Nancy is the most important marine artifact we have from the War of 1812. We would like to see her once again afloat representing Canada during the Bi-Centennial of the War of 1812, again to be held in 2012 to 2014. And we would like to call upon you, the viewer, to help us finance the building of the new Nancy. If you take a look at the trailer of this video on YouTube, you will find the directions as to how to send in your donations to our website. And we would appreciate your support, and we would thank you very much for those who support us. And the building of the new Nancy, we would welcome you on board the new Nancy at our various sites from Kingston to Fort Detroit, all the way up to Fort Mackinac again. And once again, thank you very much.